Hello, everybody, and welcome to our channel, The Three of Pentacles. We are called The Three of Pentacles because we are three tarot card readers, and we like to read on world events and news and everyday things that happen in our lives and also in your lives. If you need us, you let us know. If you need our services, our contact is in the description below. We also do this for entertainment purposes, but not only and not always. So we're going to keep that in mind. And also we'd like to thank you all for watching our videos and liking them and sharing them and commenting on them. We really, really appreciate that. I believe we're at 136 subscribers as we're doing this video.
As of today, yes.
Yeah. As of today, absolutely. And we would just, kind of help us get to 150. We would like to get to 150. Just, view it. Even if you don't like this subject, just press play and turn down the audio and just let it run, okay?
Play it on fast speed, double time it.
Play it on fast speed.
And who knows, maybe you'll learn something as you go.
Exactly. And by the way, if you all want us to read on something, just let us know. Just put it in the comments or send us an email. Just reach out to us and let us know what you all want us to do. But thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much. And in this video, we are going to be reading on something that it's very surprising for me. At the same time, it's very curious and it's very exciting because whether you read the Bible or you do not read the Bible, the word somewhere is going to come up somewhere. Let me see if I pronounce it right, because my family knows a lot about this because my family goes to church and they read the Bible and everything like that. The Elohim. Now, when you read the word Elohim in the Bible, it's translated as, is it translated as God, Kaila?
It's translated usually as God, yes.
And
Singular.
when it's God, yes, as God as we know God.
Single God. Single.
Now, single, like one.
Mm-hmm.
And if you read it in the Bible, that's what it's referred to as, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I know I've seen it before. So I'm going to let you just go ahead and explain a little bit, Kaila, because I'm getting a little stuck.
So according to recent research, and this first came up for us on the Beyond Mystic channel, and I think Barbara and I, at that point in time, we're not quite ready. We didn't quite understand. Lynn caught on a little quicker, and we had a conversation about this before, but recently it's been coming up more on our radars because it has been connecting the dots with a lot of our past. And this is the past throughout cultures, different cultures. And it's also kind of coming into the present. And this, a lot of the information that you might find useful on this topic is coming from Paul Wallis and the channel on YouTube called The Fifth Kind. So Lynn is going to play something soon. But just the one point you want to bring out before Lynn plays this is the fact that usually this word Elohim in the Bible, it refers to God as a single one God. But according to Paul Wallis, he says that there is evidence that if it's translated correctly, it actually means powerful ones, plural. So it's like more than one. And he speaks about various cultures across the world having stories of these beings who fought over earth and how the earth should be run, how humans should be governed, and so on. And there's many stories. He spoke about the Indian culture, he spoke about Greek culture, about these powerful beings, and there's a lot of parallels across these stories. And he even draws reference to back then, those stories, and then even now. Yep. So there was a recent video he put out that was super interesting that caught Barbara and my attention a lot. So Lynn is just going to play the beginning of this, and hopefully this helps to, clarify a few things.
Before I start, just to give people another reference, if they want to check out Mauro Biglino's work, he is a world famous translator of Bibles. And this is where a lot of it came through. And I don't know if Paul actually came across, but Paul has a great mini series in his, I think The Fifth Kind with Mauro. I would check it out because it's going to clarify a lot of the translations in the Bibles.
Yes, then Mauro Biglino.
Mauro Biglino.
Mauro Biglino.
Biglino.
But anyway, just so you define it.
About the past.
Oops. I forgot to share screen. Barbara, have y'all pronunciations ready?
Or the present. Why is the translation of the word Elohim so controversial? Why, through so many centuries, has it been translated as God? When Elohim is translated in the plural, what is the startling truth that emerges hidden in plain sight in the pages of Genesis? When Elohim is translated in the plural, it reveals plural beings, plural interventions in our evolution as a species, and plural agendas for the human race. The plural Elohim, the powerful ones, were part of the world of Abraham and Sarah, the progenitors of the Hebrew tradition. When a neighboring chief asked Abraham, "Why did you leave Ur of the Chaldees," which was a Mesopotamian-based culture full of stories of sky people, the answer that Abraham gave was, "Because the Elohim, plural noun, told me," plural verb. These plural beings were part of Abraham and Sarah's world, and they crop up later in their story. Though generations of translators have translated Elohim as God, Abraham, the progenitor of the Hebrew tradition, was very familiar with Elohim as plural beings. The word means, if we take the root meaning, it means the powerful ones.
Do we want to go further or do you want to stop there?
Up to, I think, the 3-minute mark was quite good.
Okay.
Now, some scholars have argued that it means the powers of God, and that's why it's in the plural. But that doesn't quite relate to how other pluralizations work in Hebrew. A kerub is a cherub. Kerubim is many cherubs, not the many qualities of cherub kind. When translators want to say that it means the powers of God, what that fails to take into account is that these powers conflict with one another over agendas for the human race. These powers go to war against each other, and human beings get genocided in the process of those conflicts. So, no, it's not the powers of a divinity. We are talking about ET demographics who arrived as a colonizing force on planet Earth, and our ancestors were caught in the crossfires as they went to war over Project Earth.
You see that building the size of several football fields?
Was that a good spot to stop?
I think so.
Okay.
And we will link this in the description because this is a relatively short video. I think it's just about 22 minutes or so, and it gives quite a lot of good information in that. It's a good synopsis.
Yep.
Yep. And I just took a quick look while Lynn played the video. I took a quick look in my my family chat just to see how they approached the word Elohim. And I missed all those because I had to, to go in there and try to read everything. But there's many of us because we have a big family, but there's maybe one of my relatives that referred to him as Jehovah and God. But I didn't read other comments on how others approach it. So I have to talk to them personally to see what they say about that.
You'll have to ask them about Yahweh as well, because Yahweh has been translated to mean God, but according to Paul Wallis and Mauro, when you read that, when you listen to them, Yahweh is actually one of the Elohim.
Okay, I've seen that word in a chat as well. I'll have to check it out. Maybe talk to them as a group or individually, or just link this video. So what do we want to, so the questions were, do we want to go with the questions that I mentioned earlier? Did we
That
want to
sounds good, yeah.
Okay, so we want to know, as he's saying it in the video here, do they really exist? Because as he's speaking about them, we're seeing the images of kind of like alien culture. So we just want to say whether the aliens or not, or whether they're God. We just want to see if they first exist, right? We just want to do quick pulls. We're going to do 3-card pulls or whole spread. What do you want to do, Kaila?
Let's do a full spread and see what
General.
On the
information
Elohim,
they want to
Okay.
tell us. Yeah.
about the Elohim.
Yeah, about Elohim.
Yeah, I love Paul Wallis's work.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good. Mauro doesn't do a lot. Well, he might do more than I know, but because he only speaks Italian, there's always
Mario.
Mario. No, it's Mauro. It's
Mauro?
not Mario. It's Mauro.
Maro?
Mauro. I can't remember. I have it.
Mauro.
Mauro. Okay.
Oh, okay, Mauro. Yeah, Mauro.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to say that word, Mauro.
Yeah.
Mauro
But
Biglino.
yeah, he's not Mario.
Mauro.
No. But anyway, him and like I love Billy Carson's work, and all of those guys have a bunch of other people that they have. The Fifth Kind is a really great YouTube channel for all this information. And then Paul of course has his own website, I think, where you could be a member of it and stuff like that too. I think Billy Carson does as well.
I think I've already subscribed to the 5th Kind. Let's see.
All right, so this was a general poll on the Elohim as Paul Wallis describes them. What does the universe want to tell us? So we have the 10 of Swords surrendering to, there's a lot of information unknown, surrendering to the process. We have the 4 of Swords, so a lot of hidden information there. We have the Princess of Pentacles here with the King of Swords. So he is telling a lot of truth here. So the Princess of Pentacles. Now these cards, this is the Star Tarot, and I find when I pull with these cards on these kinds of topics, ancient history, unknown history, a lot of extra information comes across in the illustration.
Now, how did you word your question, Kaila?
The question was, according to how Paul Wallis describes them, is there truth and integrity to it,
Okay.
and is, what else does the universe want to tell us? So we have the Knight of Cups in the past. Off the bat, what do you get, Lynn?
That's why I was asking you what you
Yeah.
you came from it. But I mean, definitely I agree. That Paul, there's definitely truth and integrity, but I still think there's even more stuff that he's not, which would be expected, you would think.
The first thing that jumps out to me is that very first card that you pull, which is the 10 of Swords. That almost looks like Jesus on the cross.
That's correct, yes. That's right. So it's like a lot of unknown information coming out about.
Yeah, this is going to probably spark controversy. You can cut this out if you need to, Barbara, but there is contention, or not contention, but the possibility that the story of Jesus in the Bible, which as we know back then, they didn't have the J sound. It was Yeshua or Yeshua. And, but there really was a Yeshua, the Christ consciousness as we know it. But their story in the Bible might have been contorted and twisted a little bit more, just as I believe, take it or leave it, to control the populations through religion and so forth as well.
Well, they've done a lot of books like that before. I mean, history books. I mean, how many times have they updated the Bible and redone the Bible? There's this version, there's the King James version, there's all types of versions. Why do we have to have different versions of it?
They all update it to tweak things to control, in my opinion. That's my opinion from what I've learned.
And my opinion is that every time they probably, quote unquote, tweaked it, they either put something in it or took it out. And
Absolutely.
And when you approach people that go to church and read the Bible, and you approach them about this subject, most of them they'll say, well, that may be, but whatever is left in the Bible, that's enough to live right by. And I agree with that. I mean, if you look at some of the stuff in the Bible, there's stuff that you can abide by to live a great life, but there's some stuff in the Bible that's a little dodgy as well.
I mean, I think so, because from what we're told is this is a God that you have to, make amends with and everything else. It isn't necessarily always a loving God, you know?
And this is kind of what he was saying. He's like, a lot of it's referred to as God, but when you look at statements and stories and the whole account of it, it's a lot of conflicting information. Is this a loving God? Is this a warring God? So it makes sense to the fact that these are different warring factions going against each other.
It's really something that very first card that you pulled, which is the Ten of Swords. It does look like, well, usually on the Ten of Swords in the classic Rider-Waite-Smith deck, there's a man that's laying on the ground. He has 10 swords in his back. Basically, what is depicted, what happened to Jesus in the Bible. And so when I look at that card too, it's the Ten of Swords, which is the same card. But then when I look at it, it looks like he's kind of like on a cross, and he has this light around him, this aureole around him. So what else do y'all get from the cards? I'm not really used to these cards, so it's kind of hard for me to I have my glasses so I can check it out. What else do you get, Kaila?
So in the past, the Knight of Cups comes up. So this is someone who offers their heart. It's like someone sharing their emotions, sharing something from their heart. And this is Paul Wallis. This was definitely a controversial topic when it came out. He's coming across with information in the environment there with the Knight of Swords. Quick information that is not necessarily pleasant to a lot of people.
And I think he lost his position in the church too.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Or did he remove himself, or did he?
I don't know exactly how that broke down. Yeah.
But I think he definitely tried to bring up some of these things, and that didn't go over well.
You mean Wallis was removed from the church?
Yeah. Yeah. He was fairly high up in the church in Australia. I can't remember which sector it was. It wasn't Catholicism, but it might have been Episcopalian or something similar to it, because they kind of seemed, I think they had like some sort of priest type roles. I'm not positive of that, but
that's kind of like what happens is like it's almost like you have to take everything for face value, and you can't have any questions.
Don't question
That's what it
anything.
is. Don't question it. It's the Bible. It's this. It's that. Don't question it. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kaila. I cut you off.
That's okay. So with the Eight of Cups, this specific Eight of Cups, what I'm getting is like we're getting the tip of the iceberg. As Lynn was saying, there's a lot more that's resurfacing, and it's actually spilling those emotional cups, those emotions a little bit, and then we're going to have a lot more coming out that's going to feel even more emotional to a lot of people. With the Four of Swords and the King of Swords, I get, yes, there is truth and integrity to what he is saying. And again, a lot more hidden information with the Five of Cups. Adding to that is like spilling. There's the two factions. We have two cups there. There's the benevolent Elohim, as he often refers to them. And then there's the other side of it. It's like we have the rainbow in the background, we have the cup spilling over. So from these cards, I'm getting that there is truth and integrity to it. I think we'll have to do a few more polls or clarifiers if we want to ask specifically on different topics.
Okay.
So I think the Six of Pentacles with the White Buffalo woman, once the truth starts coming out, that should be able to hopefully bring some healing.
Yes, good. And that brings me back to the fact that in different cultures, they all speak of this. This card brings me back to the past and our history.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're at the Knight of Pentacles stage. So the Knight is like the second stage, and then you have the Queen and the King. So there's a lot more to come out.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing how this story comes out in different historic cultures and in history. Yeah, well, historic cultures. How it comes out in different cultures. This historic story comes out in different cultures. Now, when he says that, does he say that there's two different Elohims that are fighting over humans in these different cultures?
He does mention there is a group of them who are more benevolent, they're more kind, they're wanting more good, and then there's the others who want to subdue.
And those stories, they kind of tend to relate to the Anunnaki with the two brothers that fought during the Sumerian times. Because one of the brothers I know was more benevolent towards the humans and wanted, better things for them, and the other wanted more control and, basically slaves working.
Right. And
So,
even in the East Indian history, he mentions the Mahabharata, and it's a similar situation. It's warring factors for the same thing, basically.
yeah.
So that's what that's what these different cultures say, that there's two different types that are fighting over. They actually,
Yeah.
is that what it comes out
If
as?
there's a lot of research that you can do into this. And I know that one of the theories, and I think I've heard Paul talk about it, is almost like there might have been like 13 sectors of Elohim, and each one got a section, like the 13 families, the 13 bloodlines. And that's where there's so much this, we can't get into that in this video. We'd be pulling cards for hours. But that's where the story where Yahweh was given a people, the Jews. I think that's where Abraham and Sarah came from, was actually under Yahweh. But Yahweh wasn't given any land. So that's why he was always fighting with the other sectors to try and get land and so on and so forth. So, but also what I've heard is Yahweh was a lower end, let's say a lower end soldier. He was maybe a major, but he wasn't a general, kind of to say. So that might be why he didn't get any land. There's so much into it.
Yeah.
So basically, and you probably already said it, but just so I can understand through my thick skull, because sometimes I just have to keep asking questions. The indigenous cultures around the world, the story that they have about the Elohim, are they also saying that there were two types that were fighting each other? Is that what they're saying in the, is that what you got as well?
Usually there's a whole lot more to each story, but usually there's one side that is more towards good and one side more towards selfish means, right? And so I think these sort of form the basis for a lot of religions. They talk about these benevolent ones, gods, goddesses, whatever. In different cultures they have different names for them. So then there's good side and the bad side, and they fight over things. And then what I really love about this video is he draws the parallel between this group wanting the best for humanity, and then another group wanting to take advantage, wanting to subdue humans, wanting to subdue planet Earth. And this is a topic that's been coming up even recently, like, why are things in the air, why are things being sprayed, and so on. And he goes into detail and gives evidence in the past. So for those of you who are still doubting that things have been sprayed that are harmful, you should look at the video, because he gives evidence of that. And then he draws the allusion to, okay, this has been done in the past, but then what about right now? We're actually seeing the same thing. There is a war over the water. Should humans have water, or should it be something that corporations have, and you should be, is it a birthright or is it not? These are still things that we deal with today. So one of my questions would later on, if you want to ask the pendulum, would be, are these forces still here? Are we dealing with these forces still? And
and also with some of them being good and some of them being bad, he said that would kind of let you understand what's going on with the Bible, because in some of the stories in the Bible, it shows that God is a good and gracious God. And then in some parts, other stories of the Bible, it shows that he's like punish you, but with violence almost.
Yep.
So that always confused me as a child.
Yep.
yes, for sure.
And I always thought, yes, I love God and I love Jesus. And I, just like they taught me, the little girl taking me to church. But then I would always be confused that, is so loving and loves us. But then
Yes.
at the end, if we don't do exactly, not just punish, but violently punish. That
Yes.
really scared me as a child. So
Yeah.
It
I think
kind
it
of
makes
almost
sense.
goes along with what we've been saying in the movie, like where the bad side, they have to show you what they're doing. So maybe parts in the Bible are really true, and then the other parts, who knows? We don't know what's the mishmash. Hopefully eventually we'll get the true words.
And again, when we're not trying to convince someone
No.
that the Elohim exists. We're not trying to convince anybody that Elohim is God. We're not trying to convince anybody that Elohim is not God. We are just merely asking questions, and I think we still have the permission to ask questions and to kind of wonder who we are or where we come from. So, and we don't want to offend anyone as well. But if we do offend you, just write in the comments underneath and let us know. And just we could talk about it, and maybe we'll all come together with something, right?
Okay, so do you want me to bring out the pendulum?
Yeah.
What was your second question you had, Barbara?
So my second question is, are they really fighting over the humans, or did they fight over the humans? Because we already saw that there's two different ones, right? And they do exist. So are they really fighting over the humans?
There might even be more than two. I think they could be different groups, and some could be good. The difference is good and bad. Like, what is the intention for our benefit or not?
I mean, it could be the 13 bloodlines, right?
Yeah.
We don't know. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Who's going to ask?
You gonna ask it, Kaila?
You want to repeat that one, and then we can go from there?
Yeah. Are what we believe we know as Elohim, are they actually fighting over humans, or have they fought over the humans?
That's a big yes.
Okay, that's a yes. And what was the other question? Do they still exist today? Are they still fighting over humans today?
Do some of them?
Wait. Are they still fighting for humans off the Earth planet, though? Yes, they're just not here. The Elohim are not on Earth, Barbara, but they're still fighting over us from afar.
Yeah, and for those of you watching, it's so important how you phrase your question with the pendulum, especially. It needs to be very specific, and even with the cards too.
Yep.
What was your other question, Kaila?
Yeah, one of my questions was, are they walking on Earth among us? Are some of them walking on Earth among us?
No.
No. So that
So
would
it
be a
was-
no to my other one, which was,
bloodlines.
yeah, are some regular people we interact with ancestors of these bloodlines?
No.
No.
Is there any truth to the Elohim? Let's say the generals, when they first came here, were they kind of considered the 13 bloodlines? No. Okay.
No.
That's interesting.
Would if we saw an Elohim, would they look like what is portrayed in Wallis's video?
Yes, they are blue. I asked earlier. They are blue.
Are all of them blue?
Are all Elohim blue? Yes, that's a blue species.
Is there more than two types of Elohim?
Are the Elohim one species? Yes. Are there good Elohim? Christ conscious following Elohim that love humans? Oh, that pounds yes. And are they what we consider evil Elohim? Is that the two kinds of Elohim that Paul Wallis is referring to? Good and bad? Yes.
So are there any more besides these two that he's referring to?
No, it said that earlier, Barbara. We asked.
What was the question? What was the answer?
Was there more? The Elohim is one race. Is the Elohim one race? Yes.
Okay, one race.
But you
Okay,
have
so
good
there's
and
one
bad,
race,
like you have
one
of
race and
everything.
good and bad. Okay.
Yeah, just like we have of everything.
So are we at a point in time where they're trying to make new agreements between the good and the bad about Earth and us? Do you want to ask that?
I don't know what exactly. It's not an easy yes or no. What do you mean? Who, what, where?
Yeah, like, okay, so we got that they're not operating on the Earth. They
Right.
are
They're
operating,
still
but are
fighting
they,
from
they're
afar,
still
right.
fighting. So, okay, so I guess,
Right. The Elohim are still fighting for Earth and for humans, control over humans from afar. Yes. Is what we call the Cabal, the Elohim minions? Yes.
The bad Elohim minions. So
what we call the white hats, the good Elohim?
White hats, good Elohim? Yes.
So are the Elohim, are they in a place where we would think in our mind as space? Like, where are they exactly? Like, would they be
They're not on
in
the
a place
earth
that we
plane.
call,
They're not on the earth, what we know as the earth plane.
so would space be considered?
Until we really know what the earth plane is, Barbara, that's a whole other show.
That is true.
Well, what we think we know as space.
Okay. Would we consider the Elohim fighting off the earth plane in outer space? Yes.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know.
Okay.
Because there's so many star systems, planets, where they are, what they are, we don't even
exactly. Yep.
know.
So
Yeah.
let's ask this. I'd be
Interesting.
curious. Are any of the good Elohim a part of the galactic white force? There you go. The white team, the white hat, the galactic that we consider. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Because I think the whole galactic thing is made up of all different species.
Yeah, they probably look human too.
Well, they do, but I think they're blue skinned, and they're also a lot of these other races are way taller. I believe we are supposed to be way taller
Yeah,
too.
we saw that in our video with the
Yeah.
pyramids.
Yeah, that's right. I asked that then, didn't I? That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Woo!
Yeah, it's a big topic. We may have
It's
to come
huge.
back
I
to
mean,
it.
we could be pulling on this all night.
Mm-hmm. It's a huge one to grasp even, so far as to get questions to ask about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we may have to
Take-
come back to this.
I think
Taylor.
we'll have to come back with a little bit, but I mean, that's a great video for people to get started.
Yes.
That's a great video for me to get started.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I highly recommend Barbara, you, and everybody else out there that is new to this to go and look at the Paul Wallis. We can include that link from Paul Wallis's playlist with the interviews with Mauro.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So, and you said it right. You said it right. Mauro, yeah. It's not easy to say that. So I think we covered all of our questions regarding the Elohim just for this video.
For now, yeah.
For now, stay tuned.
Because I'm telling you, I'm going to have a lot more questions. So you better get that arm ready.
You better get to watching some more videos so you know what you're asking.
Hey, I got my third eye.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, it's popping. A few of them.
And then just
Yeah,
wait
yeah.
until you start seeing what Cliff High says about Elohim and Jay Widener and everybody else. There's a lot of information out.
Oh, yeah.
You also said that Ben Carson talks about it, right?
No, Billy
Billy Carson, not Ben Carson.
Ben Carson
who is
would
that?
be the brain surgeon that was the head of housing and urban development for Trump under her first term.
Oh, okay, no, not him. The other one.
The other Billy Carson.
The other Billy Carson. All right. Whew. Do y'all want to add anything, or is that enough for this?
I think we're good for today.
We're good for today.
A lot to sink in, for sure.
All right. So, like we said, we're not trying to influence anybody. We're not influencers. We're tarot card readers, and we like to ask questions. And so, if you all have any other questions,
Here is Billy Carson, just so you all know that he also does this too.
good. Thank you for pulling that up, Lynn.
Yep.
Because a lot of people don't know who he is.
Yep.
So yeah. All right. So thank you for watching. If you have any comments or anything like that, any personal experiences, write down below. If you agree, write down below. If you disagree, write down below. If you read the Bible, if you have other stuff that you want us to look at, write down below. Just comment. Just comment.
It's definitely a topic that's new and something that you need to go and do some research because it's just coming out kind of thing. So there's a lot to learn.
Yep.
So
Right.
be sure to join us on Rumble and our Facebook community. We're also on Instagram, and we will never contact you first. So please be cautious of scammers.
Bye,
Thanks
everybody.
for watching.
Thank you.